Okay, we're not going to wait for Scott.
All right.
Donna has no patience for
I'll
Scott.
be here full time now. I mean, I'm closing down the apartment, I'll be here full time, so.
Nice.
Glad to hear that. Seriously.
Welcome back.
Well, there's that wine bar coming next door, so.
How do you like the door on your mom's old house?
Oh, yeah, that's interesting, right? 'Cause I've never seen, I like it. It's
Mm-hmm.
really, yeah, I'm happy about that.
Yeah, that's what she said too.
Yeah, it was really cool. Of course, my grandmother will be turning over in her grave.
Well, she's not the one that took
Just tell me when you're ready, Deborah.
What time did we close this on?
7:48.
7:48.
Can I ask a question before Mr. Dixon comes back?
Sure, we're not in session.
What's the correct way to report if someone's sprinklers are running on and off week?
Call, right? Call the 830-931-4090.
What if it's at like 6:30 at night?
Call them and leave it with the answering service.
Okay.
So, when it comes
Call Curl at home. No, don't.
to water allocation, is it handled on the property tax?
Hmm?
As far as carbon allocations and carbon tax, because that can get into some pretty dicey territory.
That's a whole different conversation for another time, but that agenda's item's already closed, so. And we're still in recess.
In Priscilla, there's a picture of Helen standing there with the door in place.
I
So,
noticed all the old.
right, so that means that that door was put in
That was
by
there.
Helen's mom.
No, they
You ready?
were-
Okay.
They were there when.
When it was never taken down.
Helen's grandmother.
All
All
right.
right.
And not Helen's mom.
I need my gavel. Okay, we're going to reconvene at 7:52, and we'll talk about this stuff after.
Hey, it's all
Nice.
about me now.
It's all about you. Okay. So Herbert had wanted to bring this up, so I'm going to let him begin it, and then we'll get into it.
I'm sorry I'm talking so much, I apologize, but I don't get to pick the agenda.
They need a break from me every once in a while, so it's okay.
This started because of two citizens in my district that complained to me about speeders, and I requested action be taken. The mayor asked me to wrap it into a bigger picture because there were many other complaints. You all may remember, I think it was maybe 6 months ago, that the city council directed that a traffic calming study be done, and it was done. And then we changed chiefs, and now we've bought some new equipment that can help us. So we probably do need to finish whatever the chief's plan is. But here's the comment that I think is germane tonight. In my district on Geneva Street, the north-south street, when you come over the hill, after you go past the cemetery, it's a speedway down to the bottom of the hill. There are no stop signs. If you look at the 5 parallel streets going east, every one of those streets has stop signs at Florence and at north and south. Every single one of them, all the way over to Naples. So we're not asking to invent something new. It's something we've already done on all the other streets. I wanted to see a north and south stop signs added at Geneva and Florence, which would take care of Mr. Moore's complaint about Geneva Street. Then Donna's mother has constantly been telling me about her speeder problem on Lisbon Street. She lives between Athens and Algiers, and there's a steady stream of people departing the park, especially on the weekends, where they speed down Lisbon Street in an effort to get to Constantinople and cross the bridge and go other places. She's complained bitterly. The chief has put a radar out there, and the point she wanted me to express to the council was the radars are great if you're a long distance away. And her example to me was when she turns out of the park and gets on Lisbon Street, she can see the radar image, which is way down by her house between Athens and Algiers, and it's measuring her speed, but she's like 3 blocks up. And the closer she gets to her house, it stops measuring her speed. And when she comes down Athens and turns on her street, it doesn't measure her speed at all. So she's suggesting that we may have a calibration issue that we want to look into to try to make the radar units a little more applicable so that
Yeah.
they're looking at things that are close in too. And I think we empowered the chief in previous times to use his judgment and put in stop signs wherever he felt was needed. So my only plea to the council is if you have a specific problem area where you have speeders, that you should make it known to Scott and he can relay it to the chief, and hopefully the chief will take some action, because according to Helen Delavan and Robert Moore, things are not getting any better on their streets.
They can only be established by ordinance, the stop signs. So the chief doesn't have the ability to do it. But what you're probably remembering is the chief would do a traffic calming study, which literally meant they would sit out there and take notes for 3 days or something. Now that we have the machines that were working properly, you don't have to have a live body there doing that. The machine does all that. I mean, it's recording all the time. But then that information is given back to the council along with a recommendation from the chief, and then the council makes a decision whether or not a stop sign is warranted. Is that correct? Have I outlined that correctly?
So, and to,
Get it done.
well, so to Donna's
All right, Cindy
question
told me
earlier, Donna's question earlier was, she understood that the speed carts were not working. Initially, they had a problem with getting it configured, understanding how to program it and everything. And I've actually seen the studies that have come out of them. I saw the one from when it was sitting over on Geneva, and it was interesting because it actually shows you the max speed. It actually plots out all of the speeds, and it shows you, like on that one, most of the speeding. There was a decent amount of speeding. It was less than 50%, but most of that was within about 5 miles. I don't even believe that we give a ticket over, under like 5 or 10 miles. So the number of speeders that were over 10 miles were almost none. So sometimes on these smaller streets, it appears like they're different, but I think that one second, I'll let you speak. I will. So, because this, part of this is really, it's a traffic thing. Do we want to set a policy where everybody that requests a stop sign gets a stop sign, because then or we might as well just put stop signs at every corner? And so if we're not methodical about this, if we don't do it, for a reason, it's about safety, ultimately, is what it comes down to. So I think that if we work with we have traffic engineers, we have cops who understand, like, logistically how this gets enforced. I think that if we don't go and leverage that and do it intelligently, then we're going to end up putting stop signs everywhere.
Intuitively, I think one of the things that we could do, and I would recommend, is just, it might be time to look at the city as a whole and look at the policy, where stop signs are,
Right.
whether or not they follow what would be generally accepted practices for traffic control. Because
Right.
I would think around schools, certainly makes sense to have four-way stops at key intersections, because you're in a school zone, you're going to be around a school, you may want all traffic to stop. But normal residential streets that are not collectors, they're just residential roads, as Councilman Dyer pointed out, there are different categories of streets, although the majority of our roads are just residential streets.
Well, and some that become de facto collectors. So Fiorella is one of them. I call it a de
Right.
facto collector because there's a lot of people that come down Fiorella. Same thing, you talk about people going down Lisbon to go to Constantinople. More of them come by my house at Gentile's, and because there's no stop signs between there and Constantinople.
I would
And we-
suggest that maybe it's time to have a third party review that.
Yeah.
It will cost us a little bit of money, but I
And-
think it might be worth it.
And I want to throw something in. I talked to the police chief about this. There are temporary speed bumps that you can set out there and put it just in front of the stop signs, because they're not stopping for the stop signs. I mean, yeah, they'll do the California roll if that, but they fly through it. So put the temporary speed bumps out there, get their attention. Those are mobile. You can undo them and put them
They make
somewhere
those with
else.
spike traps, too.
Yes, I
So-
know, well, I know. But,
I told Rhonda we should
And-
just distribute out spike strips to the,
and it gets their attention. They won't fly down the road anymore, especially these kids. I mean, we had the speed thing on our Geneva heading into the neighborhood last week, and I had high school kids in front of me. They were doing 35, 40. They come to the stop sign of Geneva and Houston. They don't even start. They just go over the hill, headed towards the neighborhood, and that. So and then our street has no stop signs because we're basically the dead end of our neighborhood. So they fly down the hill and fly up the hill. I think, should consider these temporary speed bumps to put in key locations to get their attention. But
And
that's my 2 cents.
I think they're all great ideas. I think that we should go to a professional who actually does
Yeah.
this. And, and Don, I'm going to hear from you in just a second. But you brought up a really good point. There are a lot of people that have been here for a long time that have seen, and traffic patterns have changed. I'd say they've changed pretty dramatically in the 5 or 6 years.
As an engineer who's studying traffic, for the most part, our city is set up where every other block is a stop sign in opposite directions, for the most part. But way back whenever we came up with things, there are these major thoroughfares that we turn them into the city turned them into collector streets. And you mentioned one, Fiorella is one, because Fiorella has very few streets. Florence is another one. Constantinople is another one. Someone told me that as you're coming up there, right at Constantinople, right where there used to be a stop sign there, and they took it out. And because, if you're walking around the neighborhood or out watering your grass, you'll see, and it's not just the high school kids, but also mamas getting their kids to school in the morning. One of the most dangerous places in town right now is right out in front of City Hall. Because of the dance studio and those little kids, and the parents have parked there to pick up the kids, and people are still coming down that street way so fast. It's like, I think we ought to put stop signs at every intersection and also halfway. So we do have this problem. I do support your suggestion that we hire a consultant to come in and see how do we slow this down. Maybe we have stop signs where we don't need them, but there's no doubt that these long, and because people know that's what they go to, and we need to somehow correct this.
Washington Street's the same way. There's not a
Same
stop
thing.
sign between Constantinople and Kenning Park.
Well, and Houston Street's the same way. I've heard people, and people know where the long stretches are.
Oh, yeah.
I think Fiorella is the most dangerous when it comes to the amount of people that are there and the volume of traffic that comes down.
Oh, yeah.
So just,
And I got to tell you also about Fiorella, some people every day, like Arnie there, is drinking coffee, and this one car, because the stoplight has gotten longer there at Fiorella, well, they turn there at September, above September Square, and then get over to Alamo Street, and this one car goes through there he takes the corner at 25 miles an hour, and just is that far from the pillar of the,
Don't be
and
talking
you've seen
about
it
me.
also.
Yeah.
But yeah.
they may occasionally get a coffee cup in their windshield.
Yeah. So anyway, but yes, I digress. Go for it.
All right.
Okay.
All right, so do you have
and I'm-
specific direction for staff?
Actually,
on this item?
If it's all right, I just wanted to hear from
Yeah, go
Donna
ahead.
for just a moment.
Yeah, thanks. So my only input is, so I would like to know that it actually is working, because I just met with Chief just like this last week to kind of see where the status was. And he didn't mention that it was working, and so, great. But again, it's only put out between like 8 and 4.
That's kind of crazy, right?
So if you're looking at good data, you're not getting it. They're not getting to school, they're not getting to work.
Well, the ones I have stay out there the whole time.
They've gone,
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, on
So-
Geneva, it was out there for like 2 days straight.
Yeah, and the one on,
Lisbon last night, it was on after the.
That's because.
And this one out here was on there for a while.
And I just watched, wherever it is now, I watched them pull it like at 4:30 on Saturday and drag it back to wherever y'all park it. It's not been out. They picked the Fiorella one out, every night. Ask them. I'm not sure.
I believe you. I don't know why those are being picked up, but the other ones are being left out.
I don't know.
Maybe a security issue, I don't know.
so I think that the direction is, you were asking for specific direction on this?
Yeah, from-
And I'll ask for your feedback on this. I think that specific direction is to engage somebody that can look at it from a traffic engineering standpoint, engaging our police chief to make sure that that fits within what they can support and get an idea. The whole reason behind getting these things, these traffic carts, is because we could start collecting that data. What is our policy for putting them out, for this investigation portion of it? How long do they stay? Where do they go? And I think that comes from somebody that can do that traffic engineering thing. Is that,
That works for me, and I'll go visit him next week to see how he's doing.
There's a university that does that work with TxDOT, and they may be an inexpensive route to go, but I'll double check.
okay. Does that sound like a good direction from council?
exactly what we're doing.
You guys?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, cool. We made you stick around for all of that.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're awesome.
Take
Good
care, Don.
job sticking around.
All right. Are you good with that, Scott?
Yeah, can I tell a funny story?
Yeah.
We had a lady in the city I worked with that was very, very vocal about there are these dang speeders and stop signs and yada, yada, yada. And so we went out there and patrolled, and 2 different times.
She got ticketed.
True, yeah, she got ticketed, which is hilarious. One for speeding, and one for not stopping at the stop sign. And it really truly was just not being targeted. Like they stopped everybody who didn't stop at that stop sign. They stopped everybody that sped. But she was the one that was vocal about it, and then she ended up getting 2 tickets because we weren't doing warnings.
I
Nice.
think the only repeat citation on our current Northern route was really bad. By the way, PD has done a great job.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Ray's not here to hear you say that. You got to say it when he comes back in.
So, the best, because I was talking with the officer sitting there the other day, he's had to ticket one individual twice, of course, somebody lives right there. And lives right across from where he sits.
Well, I'm going to tell you that it's funny because
He sits the driveway, or next to my house.
Oh, don't call anybody out.
No, I won't. I'm just telling you.
we're narrowing it in on it really quickly.
Where's my
No,
bat?
there's a resident.
Yeah, that frequently does happen. You don't realize.
Scott and I were at
It's
the,
problematic. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The prosecutors, we are seeing increasing number of speeding violations and high rates of high speed violations.
That
It
was
used to
a-
be rare to see 100+ ticket, and now it's routine.
That was a
Wow.
COVID product because of the fewer people on the road.
Ray, you missed this, but you got kudos from,
Well, the PD got kudos. We don't know if you did any work.
you personally have created, yeah, it was,
we
Sorry.
and I were watching the ball game last night, and
Yes.
in the park road, someone got a ticket, so.
For running it. What's funny is I think I ran the same stop sign, but I didn't. But in my defense, I don't even think I realized it was there. But anyway, that's not a defense. But
Hey, Ray,
there's
do you
a
know what
stop
kind of
sign
car he drives?
As you enter the park, as you enter that loop road,
Yeah.
and maybe I stopped. I don't know. I honestly can't remember. But when I was going back out, I looked for it. And I was like, oh, it was that stop sign. Someone didn't stop at that stop sign, and it was pitch dark, 9 o'clock at night. They were driving 10 miles an hour, but they didn't stop. They got pulled over.
what kind of car do you drive?
It was not me.
No, no, great. Keep an eye on it.
I'm just picking on
Either
you.
the Explorer or the Ranger.
Yeah, I drive a black
Councilman Carey, did
Jeep,
you have a
a
question?
black Jeep with red lettering.
Okay.
All right.
Mayor, black Jeep with red lettering.
That's my wife.
All right.
All right. Next item is staff reports.
Being completely honest, I had 3 pretty serious issues that came up late in the day today and was not able to actually even review it. Normally I try to review the staff reports before you review them. So I don't know what's in it. I don't know what Chuck Norris did.
He's not in it.
I did ask staff if there was anything that I needed to highlight at Monday, our Monday meeting, at the staff meeting, and no one spoke up. So I don't think there's anything terribly important. I just want to reiterate the items that the mayor pointed out. We've got several events that are, some that are of a private nature, being sponsored by these various groups, but then there's also the Veterans Day events that are coming up and the other items that you highlighted in your report. We had a great turnout for the cook-off. I think we had something like 24 teams, 20-plus teams.
Oh, nice.
I think it was right at 20.
20 teams?
Yeah.
Nice.
Which they said was actually really good because last year we had right about 30, and most places are only getting half, and so we actually got more than half.
Yeah.
So they were really pleased. They were really pleased with, aside from one minor omission of a banner, they were really, really pleased with staff's support of that. So great job on that.
I got one question. Need to hear the update. Our favorite house, the junkyard. Have we moved anything on it? Because they're adding more materials now, there's more vehicles. And I feel sorry for the person that lives right behind them whose house is up for sale. Because who's going to really want to buy the house when they're next to a junkyard?
Where is this at?
Our favorite house.
Oh, yeah.
Just seeing if we have an update on moving.
Well, I know that-
On the-
We got to do something.
You know that address?
I know that.
Oh, yeah, it's
our
the
code
bottom
enforcement
one. It's the
officer's on
bottom
vacation
two.
Right now.
Geneva.
She was here today.
Oh, she was? Then she just got back. She's been on vacation.
She just, I think.
She get
Yes,
back
the
today?
1714 Geneva.
Okay. So I'll follow with her, find out what the latest is.
It's a, basically a junkyard.
Put up a 6-foot fence so you can't see it.
And then he put metal,
Glass and
like
pile.
you see in a junkyard and he's got construction materials, he's got vehicles, he's working on vehicles. It's really bad. And it's not allowed in the residential zone. So I was just seeing if we can get an update. This has been going on long enough.
Okay.
When you say reported to, what, because that was a question I had. Court has filed a warrant, reported to credit collector. So what's that mean?
I don't know.
Generally, that means that they didn't come in and pay their ticket.
Yeah, credit, I guess it's because the ticket hadn't been paid, so it gets reported to a credit bureau. So it dings their credit until
And they failed to appear in court. So, and there's warrants out for their arrest.
Well, court has filed a warrant. So is that a warrant for an arrest?
Yeah.
And then it's reported to credit collector. So if I guess the county has to send someone to arrest the person, or we don't know this process?
no, it wouldn't be the
hasn't
county.
involved.
It just shows
So
up.
the city would send a police
I think
officer?
Cindy had a comment. I will allow you.
These are normally Class C warrants, and so it's gonna be, normally there's not somebody going out to pick up Class C, purchase a Class C warrant anymore. So they will get picked up, if they come into court for another reason, maybe if they go to, update with the driver's license review, you get them stopped for any other reason, the warrant would be activated. But I know Class C warrants, normally there's not like anybody physically going out to go pick up people for Class C. Maybe different a little bit here locally, but generally across the state, not enough officers. So they're serving felony warrants, not misdemeanor warrants.
And this is not something you can put a lien on the property and file a lien against the property.
We can only file a lien on the
If you
property, the
remediate,
city
right?
actually.
So if there was a remediation effort where we incurred a cost, then you would file a lien for that cost. But in this instance, there's no remediation. It's I don't know what we need to do. I mean, really the issue is you have a guy that's doing repair work in his
Construction materials,
Yeah.
he's changing oil and all the, it's like an EPA violation in my eyes. Because he's doing stuff that, and it looks like a junkyard. I mean, he has vehicles sitting there that don't run, they're taking parts out of to put in other
Stacks
vehicles.
of vehicles, a
Yeah.
dozen vehicles in the yard.
You're probably looking at, if that's the address that's showing court,
Yeah.
maybe that gets some attention. But generally speaking, for that type of person, municipal court's not gonna do it. You're either gonna have to abate it, the city's gonna have to, time to go those charges and abate it, or file a civil lawsuit to make it happen.
Okay.
And that's out of pocket for the expense. That
'Cause you
would be
could s-
covered by your-
So if the city abated it and went in there and cleaned this up, like we.
Oh, I know.
The only property is when they mowed grass, one
Here.
time to abate it.
Right.
Then you could file a lien on the property and recover the money on the lien of the property.
Yes.
Once they sold it.
One way, because they would be required to sell it.
Yeah.
No, it's just whenever they sell it.
Oh, I thought when I had a lien, a materials lien on my property, the attorney told me that they could go and, because I had a subcontractor did pay for his steel and my attorney told me that, no, they could go get it auctioned off in county court steps and you can't do that. It's only if the property is sold that the lien comes up, you can't force them to sell the property.
That's correct.
Right, well, so, if the property's homestead, we can't force that.
Okay.
If it's not a homestead property, then the city would just have to make that determination. Do we want to extract that lien, do we want to foreclose on it?
Okay, because like I said,
I'll get with Brianna and I'll probably get with Cindy and talk to our prosecutor and see if, I have to remind myself, the prosecutor, I'll probably talk to our prosecutors, not out of Cindy's office, and find out what we want to do.
yeah, because this has been going on long enough. I mean,
Yeah,
Well,
he
we
missed
just
court a
don't
year
want-
ago.
yeah, he missed both court dates because he has 2 violations. It's,
And it's shown under zoning, it's not showing junk. So, I don't know if it's because he has a business at his house, is that correct?
He's operating
It-
for profit.
he's operating for profit for vehicles, but he's also construction materials. They load up in a vehicle and trailer and go out, and then they'll come back and there's trailers full of junk.
So I'm not sure how they did the ticket.
As I
But-
said, I'll look it up.
Okay,
I know Jack has done some work with stuff.
okay, I appreciate it, because like I said, the person behind that house has their house for sale, and it's impacted them. Nobody's gonna want to buy that house if it's next to a junkyard. That's not allowed. So, I appreciate it.
And Scott, one suggestion is Curl, who, if she's one, I don't know if Brianna or Curl's making these reports out, but it's like the
I
second.
believe it's Curl.
The second to the bottom one says, I left stick there, I spoke to wife, who forwarded my contact information. Can she put dates when she did that?
Sure.
Because the other things we can tell they're a year old, I don't know if that was last week or 3 months ago.
Okay. I'm gonna try to I'm gonna ask you to go tomorrow.
An item of note, the parks update is from last year, so
Yeah.
I don't believe Boo Bash is on October 30th. No, he put in 2021. So,
We did have a great, a lot of people stepped up. I think we're gonna have a good food bash.
Hey, well, by the way, what is, for the library report, what is some bomb?
Sheena knows.
Bath bombs, steam, and what?
Okay, so what it is you can get it from what I'm told. I never go into Bath and Body Works, but it looks like a softball, but it's different colors, and you put it in your bath, and it has stuff to like help you relax and everything, and it bubbles and fizzes and changes your bathtub to different colors, and you sit and relax in it.
So we
Probably
do
had
this
sodium
in
in
library.
We're gonna create,
What'd you ask, Phil?
Do what now?
we're going
At the
to,
library?
bath time at the library,
You're
nice.
not gonna have baths at like, you're gonna make
Yeah.
the bath bombs.
yeah,
Oh, they're gonna make the
Yes.
bath bombs.
Yes.
yes,
Not taking
Yes.
bath bombs.
yeah, no,
We're a very
no.
close community.
You know, we've been trying to drive programming, and we thought maybe if we had a Russian bathhouse there.
Yep. All right.
All right, anything else? Great. All right, so next item, I don't believe we actually need to go into executive session, is that correct?
Well, I spoke with Cindy prior to the meeting, and I'm gonna defer to you, Mayor, and council. It's worded as an executive session, but the 2 items that I was going to seek your input on are not, there's nothing about them that would exclusively be needed to be protected by an executive session unless, again, you all decide you want to convene and seek attorney's advice. So I'm going to start talking, and then you can tell me to shut up when I hit a topic that you're like, okay, I want to go into executive session.
Okay.
So the
Well, let
first-
me ask also, before we get into that, are there any of these items, because these are still under discussion, are there any of these that you feel like you need updates on?
Well, there's one that's new, I don't even know what it is.
Yes.
I've never seen it before.
Okay.
So I'm going to go over that.
Okay.
And just describe it in generic terms. And then, like I said, if you want more detail, we can go into executive session. This, so the one that Councilman Dyer is referring to is NP Homes. We had our first development agreement discussion where we talked about terms. The other day, these match the terms of the other agreements that you're familiar with. So we carried forward what we're doing for Cobblestone. The acreage or the property is a 35-acre property. It's much, much smaller. It is a rectangular shaped property, so it is more narrow than it is long.
Actually, you know what, let's go ahead and do, because I think there is some discussion on that one. Let's go ahead and go into executive session if you're okay with that.
Well, the policy, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Okay. All right, so we're going to go into executive session at 8:21. So the city council will meet in closed session under provisions of the Texas Government Code, section 551.071, entitled Consultation with Attorney, and section 551.085, entitled Deliberation Regarding Economic Development Negotiations. The items of subject are Kalik Auto Development Agreement, Cobblestone Village Development Terms, Victory Lane Partners Limited Development Agreement Extension, NP Homes Development Agreement, and conveyance of city-owned property to the Economic Development Corporation, including the Bendeley property, Public Works Yard, London Street lots, Riata property, Highway 90 East, airport property, police department property. And again, at 8:22.
Live stream is still on.
All right.
If you're going to talk about something, really juicy, close to the microphone.
You know that, or you don't?
Yeah, I do.
I was complimenting the work over on this path. So, I was making a comment, one of our own residents. It's not like somebody somewhere else, yeah.
I was in here with Phil on Thursday afternoon, and we got some work with you. Box.
Yeah, I don't know, I brought her some more, I don't have any more.
home sometime, I got it all figured out. Maybe.
Hey, you're still here. Hey, by the way, after your conversation with Terry, are you gonna quit asking me about the council building?
No. No.
What? You wanted to stop the rest?
The King's Castle?
Beer time's getting later and later.
I would like to meet him.
I'm going to the, they own the Sunny Creek boutique there.
Oh, do
Mayor?
they? Okay, cool, nice.
Might want to remind people to get out and vote.
Get out and vote? Yeah, I like them because they got the Larry Sitter thing.
Everybody's going on right now.
Early voting until Friday
They
at
got a
5
Larry
p.m.
Sitter
at
sign
all the
outside,
county
good for them.
locations.
Nice, yep. So yes, early voting began yesterday,
Monday. Yep, it's all week today, all week.
all week today.
All the way through the 4th
All
of
today week.
November. Early voting goes through the 4th of November.
Yep.
Someone was telling me yesterday that early in the morning, the line went out to the front door.
Oh, yeah, they've already set records.
There was a pretty good line, mid-morning.
There was no one there at 3 o'clock today. And there was no glare on the kiosk at 3 o'clock today.
Nice.
You're checking that now.
You're checking it.
All right.
He's
What about 3:05? Okay, so we are coming back from executive session at 9:20. Reconvening in open session. Consider possible action resulting from items posted. We have no,
We had to schedule a special meeting.
what's that?
I thought we had to schedule a special meeting.
That's next.
May or may not have.
So discussion on future, well,
Well, so in the executive
Actually, no, you're
session,
right.
we did discuss setting a special meeting on November the 29th. So if you'd like, thank you, Herb. If you'd
Yeah,
like to
thanks.
call that, you can, as an action item out of executive session.
good point. Okay. Do you need a motion or is that just direction?
It's done. It just-
I don't
It's just direction.
Wherever you want.
Direction.
At
Okay.
5:30 or on the 29th? Or?
November 29th, 5:30?
I think same time.
Okay.
It's a Tuesday.
Okay.
So if I look off,
That may or may not occur based on,
It should occur,
So I have
but
a raise over my
I'll
eyes.
keep you
Just assume that it will.
posted. It's a special call for that purpose.
the
All
pain
right.
medicine.
Did I miss anything else? All right, next item, discussion on future agenda items. I put this back on just in case there was any discussion that we need to have on any of them. Please do get your things in. Have I missed anything that has been requested? Pretty good. Make sure that you're getting them onto the future agenda items sheet. And with that, we are adjourned at 9:21.
I'll send a text on Friday once I'm out of anesthesia and home and
Oh,
that I'm alive.
I
Hope it all goes well.
prefer a call.